Having said that, we got Stefan joining us here right now, and I'll let you lead here, Stefan. But I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to know what the weather's been like in your neck of the woods. I know we had a few really cold days. I think it's supposed to snow here. Imagine that, snow in winter. But it's been pretty light on the snow side for like the past 5 years, to be honest with you. So I always say if it's going to snow, just like dump like 30 inches to where like I don't really have to leave my house anymore, right? Just type of thing. But what's happening in your neck of the woods? And welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me back, Eric. Well, it's cold here too. It's about 14 degrees Fahrenheit for the last 10 days. We've had snow, but it hasn't been like really heavy. Finally, after 10 days of snow, it has accumulated somewhat, but it's not like I remember as a kid, with 8-foot snow drifts,
Right, right. The snow is weird too. Have you noticed that? I don't know if it's like geoengineered storms, but I was out the other day when it was snowing, and just on my car alone, like you said, it's not heavy, and you could brush it off like very easily. It almost looks like styrofoam.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It doesn't
yeah,
even look like real snow. It's weird.
yeah. Everything's weird these days, you know.
Right, 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 right.
Yeah. So, well, that's and for the rest up here in my part of the country, the white genocide is going full scale. They've just done something here. Believe it or not, they are giving the local mayors, and these are all small towns. 5,000 people, 10,000 people, maybe 12,000 people, right? Small towns. They all have their own town council. They all have their own little mayor, and the province or the state for you guys has decided to give the mayors superpowers. No, they're not.
Oh.
Yeah, no, they're not turning into Spider-Man or anything like that. They've given them superpowers to override the votes of the town council. Oh,
Oh, wow.
okay. So basically, they're dictators now.
Yeah. No democracy, huh?
No democracy. No. Well, welcome to Justin Trudeau's communist Canada. And so, like look, all the people in these small towns, they're all Christians, Eric.
Hmm.
They're all white. They're all, their grandparents came from Norway and Sweden and Holland and Germany, and
Right.
we vote for the people that we want to represent us. And nobody is voting to bring in 50,000 Muslims. Nobody's voting for that.
Mm.
But guess what? Your vote doesn't count anymore. So the power of the super mayors now is to override the votes of the councillors only on one topic, and that is whether or not to appropriate local farmland and build 5,500 housing units.
Hmm.
And those housing units will be filled with Muslims and immigrants. So you're talking, 6,000 families moving into a town of 7,000 people. You can't say no. So
Unbelievable.
that's the white genocide going full tilt boogie, and that's what's going on here. And then we've had another tragedy in our community. Now, not the community that I belong to, not our private community, but community, I mean the small town that we live in, and they are relatives of people that are in our community. And one young man just committed suicide again the other day, left behind a
Mm.
wife and kids, because
Unbelievable.
this is Canada. People see no hope anymore. They see no
Unbelievable.
they see no future in this country. Everything is too expensive. They'll never own a home. They can barely afford the rent. They can barely afford groceries. And there's no jobs. There's no upward mobility. And then you got the regulations. And, oh, well, but the government is doing something. It's raising taxes again and again. More taxes, more taxes, more taxes. That's what the leftists love to do. And so everybody's being taxed to death, and people are giving up all hope. It's terrible, Eric.
Yeah.
It's terrible what they're doing to this country and your country. We're all in the same boat.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, our country probably not quite as bad as yours at this point, but yeah,
No,
we're
not quite.
certainly We're certainly catching up, though. We're certainly doing an awful lot. I don't know if you've seen some of the latest headlines with these illegals. They're now paying people in the Northeast to actually house the illegals. I mean, they're taking over a lot more hotels all over the place, and it's just like we see where this is going. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah,
what
yeah.
you and I have been talking about for years, man. We got to get ready. I mean, it's going to come down to a literal fight here soon.
It
Like, I
is.
mean,
It is, folks. Stock up on ammo. That's what I've been telling people for the last couple of
yep,
weeks. I
yep,
got
yep,
a
yep.
I got a message from a listener that lives in the next community over, the next county. It's called Waterloo County, and she wrote that all the hotels there are filled with migrants. Again,
Mm.
it's a rural countryside. It's a small town, Waterloo. It's nothing, and all their hotels are filled with migrants. She says they don't do anything. They don't go to work. They just sit out in front of the hotel smoking cigarettes and giving glaring looks at everybody else.
Oh boy, ominous. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ominous. So look, folks, we're going to have to fight these people sooner or later, but it's inevitable. It's inevitable. We're going to have to fight them. So be ready. Be ready. Anyways, on the
Yeah.
subject for today, listen, we're into winter and we can see that it's been really cold. So I don't know if we've covered this before. I think we might have touched on it, but let's go over your car emergency kit. So we've talked many
Sure.
times about bug out bags and home kits and bugging in place and all that kind of stuff. But you know your vehicle, especially in the wintertime, is crucial. I mean, listen, I ride my bicycle, but once it hits -10 below, that's my cutoff point. I'm not going on the bicycle. It's too effing,
Right, right, right.
it's too effing cold. I was out the other day. It was like, oh, I was about 15 degrees and it was snowing and okay, I could take it. You know, I'm a big boy. I'm a tough guy. Um, I don't cry just because it's cold and snow is
Right,
going
right.
in my eyes and blinding me. I'm a warrior. I can take this. I don't. But you know what? I don't want to take it. Sometimes you say, no,
Yeah.
screw it. So today I called my
Hmm.
friend. I said, look, come pick me up. Let's go shopping. I just don't feel like going on the bike today. But so
Hmm.
your vehicle is your key survival tool, especially if you live up in the. Well, look, even if you live down in Nashville or in
Yeah,
Texas,
it's getting colder down there. Yep.
it's gotten cold and then getting the snow too. So, but especially if you live up in the northern part of the country, um, your car is your survival tool. So let's go over what you should carry in your car. Now, I carry a lot in my car, my truck, which I no longer had. I had to sell it, but when I did
Okay.
have it, this is what I carried into it. Okay, first of all, flashlights and a self-defense tool such as pepper spray or a stun gun, or we've all heard about the truck gun, which is that kind of the cheap pistol that you bought for $300 and don't really take to the range too much, but it's good for sticking it in the glove compartment, right? So keep
Mm.
that in your truck. Why? Because when the shit hits the fan, you don't know where you're going to be. Oh, we'd all like to be home with all our equipment and
Sure.
firearms and everything, but you might be driving back from your cousin's after Christmas dinner or something like that, and then it hits the fan, and now you're on the road. So whatever you've got with you is what you're going to rely on to survive. So flashlights, self-defense tool like a firearm, extra batteries for the flashlight, obviously always a first aid kit. Doesn't have to be huge, it's a little one, and a pocket knife. One of those pocket knives, the folding knife, that's got like a ceramic tip on the butt,
Okay.
and the ceramic tip is for breaking the glass to get out of the car. And then a lot of them have like this little loop on the side of the handle, and that's for cutting through the seat belts. So yeah, a good thing to in case you get into an accident, and there are a lot of accidents now. My friend, he drives truck, and as soon as it started snowing, I said, how's it going out there? And he says, oh, he says, all the immigrants are flying off the roads.
Oh man.
No, because they don't know how to drive in snowy weather,
Right.
right?
Right. Right. Right.
You and I, we grew up.
Causing all the pileups, huh?
The cause of all the pilots, they're flying off the, running into, running off the road and slamming into the causeways. Anyways, it's absolute madness out there, and it's all the immigrants. It really is because you and I, we grew up in this environment, and I, grew up learning how to drive a car in the snow, so I have no problems, counter steering into a swerve and things like that. So now it's not just you have to worry about; it's all these millions of people that don't know what the hell they're doing behind the wheel. Okay, they don't know, and they're going nuts. They can't handle the driving conditions, and they are a life-threatening hazard to you. So if you were to get into a car accident or get shoved off the road into the ditch during a blizzard, and now there's it's minus something degrees. Listen, you need stuff in your car. You need stuff in your car. So that's the start. So the flashlight, the pistol, the first aid tool, all that should go into your glove compartment or in the center console of your truck or car, right? Now, in the back, in the trunk or in the back, you need more things. You need blankets or sleeping bags. We've seen this many times that people got stuck on the side of the road. They can't get out, and they're stuck in their car. And especially if you're out in the rural areas, and well, even in the cities too, is somebody going to stop and help you out? Maybe, maybe not. And people freeze to death in their cars. It happens every year. So, blanket, sleeping bags. Also, extra mittens, socks, and a wool cap. I learned my lesson with that many, many years ago when I was coming home from a Christmas party, 3 o'clock in the morning. It was a blizzard, howling wind, freezing cold, and I got a flat tire. And so now I got to go out and replace the flat tire, but I didn't have a winter coat. I didn't have.
Yeah. Oh,
I was
wow.
young then. Okay, this is before I know it. This is when I was 18.
Hmm.
I was still young and wet behind the ears before I know now what I know, and I froze my effing ass off. It was unbelievable cold, and
Wow.
you're having to handle the jack and the spanner,
Hmm.
and of course it's all freezing cold, sticking to your hands. That was a horrible experience. I never forget it. So, mittens, socks, a wool cap, extra pair of walking shoes, especially for women. Women will jump in the car wearing what they're wearing, which might be, high heels or just, low rise, what do you call them? Anyways, women are terrible with footwear, right? They don't buy stuff that's practical for the most part. So if you have to walk to the gas station and you're stuck with a pair of thin high heels, good
Mm-hmm.
luck. So extra pair of walking shoes,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. Some like
waterproof.
CrossFit shoes or crosswalk shoes, or whatever they're called.
Yeah, something like
Train.
that,
Yeah.
right? That's got
Yeah.
a good tread that you won't slip on the
Yep.
snow,
Tread. Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And something that'll keep your feet warm. And that's why you carry extra socks. That's why you carry extra socks. So if you do
Hmm.
have to get out and start walking, take your shoes off, put on the extra socks, and off you go. Because listen, I've suffered from the cold growing up in Canada many, many times, and so I never underestimate how miserable you'll get when you're cold. The other thing is a waterproof coverings, such as a tarp, or better yet, one of those ponchos. So now you've got your clothes, but if it's wet rain or freezing rain, that stuff will go right through you. So a good waterproof poncho, a metal coffee can which can be used to heat water. So if you wanted to make yourself a cup of hot chocolate while you're freezing to death in your car, you can do that. And also get one of those portable coffee heaters. It's something that can plug into your cigarette lighter outlet in the car, and you stick it in the cup, and it'll heat it up and boil the water, so you can make yourself a hot chocolate. So something that you can make yourself, and then of course packets of hot chocolate, absolutely. And especially if you've got family, if you're driving around and you've got the wife and the kids in the car, You better have this stuff because if something goes wrong, your kids are going to be miserable. But if you can say, okay, here's a blanket for everybody, get under the blanket, and here's a nice cup of hot chocolate, and there you go. Okay, people are going to feel a lot better off. Bottled water. You got to keep bottled water in your
Hmm.
vehicle. Don't use a glass container. So use the plastic ones because they'll expand when it freezes,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
What would you put it in? That? I mean, again, because glass you could have issues with, maybe shattering if you got that cold. But yeah, plastic too. But like, what would you put it in? Like a thermos or something? Maybe. I don't know.
Well, it depends. If it's one of those glass and stainless steel thermoses, they'll shatter too, right?
Those one though. Okay, I
Yeah,
thought like the upper end ones, like Yeti or whatever, is supposed to survive the extreme cold. Because I know I bought one of those like a couple years ago. I've never used it, but I thought they're supposed to survive extreme temperatures. But I could be wrong. I don't know.
I don't know either, Eric. I don't know either. You know what I use? It's really old school. You're gonna
What's
laugh.
that?
A wine skin.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, because it's
Huh.
leather. The
Mm-hmm.
leather will stretch.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that makes sense though. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so bring some water, bring some energy bars, something to
Mm-hmm.
snack on.
Yep.
A bright colored scarf to attract attention. This is an old school thing too. If you're over on the side of the road and you've got like a bright red scarf, you tie that to your radio antenna. Do they have radio antennas anymore? I don't
I
know.
don't know.
But that used to be, when I was young, a universal distress signal. So if you're over on the side of the road and you've got a red scarf tied to your radio antenna, anybody driving by knows you're in distress. That's just their distress signal. I'm sure that's not a
Mm.
thing anymore. I'm too old for this stuff,
Right. Right. Right.
Eric.
Yeah.
But we used to be a lot more responsible in the old days. Which brings me to the next item: emergency road flares.
Right. Big one. Yeah.
Yeah, but get the ones that burn, that light up. I'm having a really hard time finding the road flares. Now they're trying to sell you this, reflective, this plastic, little,
Right. Okay.
foot tall little stand, and the reflect. Useless for Christ's sakes. It's just garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Every time they try to improve something, it gets worse. But road flare really important, and I'll tell you why. Remember last year, but mind you, this happens every year. But last year, I remember there was like 120 car pileup on one of the highways. It was
Yep.
really it was really foggy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And since everybody's got their cell phone, they were videotaping this, and it was one truck after one car after another truck, bam, 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 lined up all the way down the highway, all slamming into the rear of each other for two reasons. One, it was foggy, but also it was slippery.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched that video. You know what I did not see in that video? One road flare. Are you kidding me? This is what we learned. Wow, look, 50 years ago when I took driver safety ed, and they told us that if there's a car accident, that you get out and you get your road flares, especially if it's foggy, especially if it's slippery conditions, and you go every 20 feet from your car and you throw one of those road flares on the ground. Now, if somebody out of those 120 or God knows how many cars had the wherewithal to get some road flares out there and put them down the road, it would have prevented all these cars from smashing. It gives you plenty of time to stop. You can see it from 80 feet away. You got 60 feet to stop. It would have prevented that. Not one road flare. I don't know what's the matter with society now. Well, we know what's the matter with society. They're incompetent and they're incapable.
Right.
But if it was me, I got the road flares. I would put them out there. I would have saved $30 million worth of damages by throwing those out there.
Right. Yeah. People just don't think anymore. Well, they're not prepared and they don't think, or it kind of ties into both. People are not thinking to prepare.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's a little bit of both, and also the complete helplessness. People don't take responsibility for anything. Oh well, the police will do. No, you get the road flared. You're there now. Do something. But no, they don't
Mm.
do it. Okay, what else?
What about this one? Can I throw one in there? Because I
Yes.
saw this morning, and in preparation for this talk, this one website, and it just specifically handles emergency car kits. What about emergency whistle? Do you find that useful? I kind of thought like, okay, like if you're trying to attract attention kind of thing, but I mean if you're like out on a remote boonies back roads, I don't know if that would really help you out. But have you ever talked about having a whistle on board? I mean that's one that's I don't think is really talked about that much. Do
No,
you think?
I've
Do you think that?
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah,
Like,
I get.
listen,
Yeah, again to just try to draw attention to yourself, I guess. If if people can't see like the road flare or something like that, but
well,
yeah, I don't know.
I've heard of the whistle in your bug out bag, but
Right,
I can't imagine being on the side of the road and the whistle doing any good.
right.
Can't hurt.
Spending all that energy. Yeah.
Doesn't take up any space or weigh anything, so grab one. Can't hurt.
All right. Yeah, they're cheap too. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
So.
cheap. $2, and
Hmm.
okay, so let's keep going. Toolkit. Now, when I drove, I recently drove back from California. Well, recently, Jesus Murphy, it was already 15 years ago since I came back from California. Um, but I had a toolkit. I had one of those socket wrench sets, car wrench sets.
Yeah.
And boy, does that come in handy because there's a lot of things that can go wrong in your car that I can fix personally. So I don't need to get towed into the garage. I can go take a look, and I got the tools. I can fix it myself. So especially if you've got some handyman skills, and really everybody should have some handyman skills. You should be able to change the spark plugs on your car, or swap out the alternator, or change the light bulbs in your tail lights, things like that. You should be able to do that. It's not rocket science, and if you have a toolkit, then it makes it very easy. Next, a rope, a tow chain, or a strap. A tow strap. Personally, I like a tow strap better because they often come with a winch. Listen, I have been stuck in the snow many times. Here in Canada, in the old days, usually some guy in a pickup truck would roll on past, and he would pull out the chains and wrap it around your front axle, and he'd pull you out of the ditch. Might
Hmm.
not happen anymore because those kind of people are rare, and
Yeah.
it's a dying breed. When I was young,
Right.
I really enjoyed helping people. I can't tell you how many people I've, given them a jump start to, or helped to pull them out of the ditch. 3 or 4 cars will stop, everybody will get out, and they'll push the car out of the snow. That was the good old days when people actually worked together, and they had a sense
Hmm.
of civic responsibility. Anyway, so saying that's not going to happen, then getting a tow strap with a winch is an excellent idea. So what you do is you tie the one end of the strap to a tree, or telephone pole or something like that, and then you wrap the other end around your front axle, and then you've got a winch. Yeah, okay, it's a little bit hard to pull, and it's only going to move the car half an inch at a time. But you work that winch for 20 minutes, the car's out. So a very good thing, a tow strap. The other thing I always carry is extra oil, extra windshield washer fluid, especially in the wintertime. You're driving, and it's all that muddy, and your windows are filthy. And you got to have that windshield wiper fluid, because if you run out, you're blind. You can't see anything. Your windshield wipers won't do anything. So extra windshield fluid and extra oil. And these days, I would recommend a 2-gallon tank of gas. Put it somewhere in the back, in the trunk, or in the back of your SUV. 2 gallons is just a small tank. You know the size, right? And
Hmm.
that'll give you an extra 20, 30, 40 miles if you should run out. And again, look, we're on the brink of World War III, for crying out loud. Um,
Mm.
Awful, horrible things can happen at any minute, and
Yes, sir. Hmm.
let's just be on the safe side and have an extra 30 miles of gasoline to get us home. So I put that in the back too. couple of other items, and then we're done. Small CB radio. CB is typically used for truckers, and you can plug it into the cigarette lighter on your car. Remember, channel 9 is the emergency channel. And then finally, a small toilet kit. Toilet paper, soap, washcloth, toothpaste, and toothbrush. Um, I'm embarrassed to admit that a couple of times I'm driving, and it's out in the country, and I suddenly get explosive diarrhea. I have 5 seconds to make it to a toilet.
Right.
Right? So yeah, no, I'm
Uh-huh.
going. I'm going to squat in the bushes off by the side of the road.
Right.
Thank God I've got toilet paper.
Yeah. No, seriously. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right?
No. Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. My brother's on the road a lot. He's like an anthropologist kind of thing, and they're always working out in the woods or whatnot. I think he's probably gone to the bathroom more out in the woods than in normal places. So he always has a roll of toilet paper with him everywhere. He's got some interesting stories being out in the backwoods of West Virginia
Oh
doing
yeah,
stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
So a little
Get
toilet.
used to it too. When they take our water and electricity away, that's what we're going to be doing
Oh
out in
yeah.
the woods somewhere or somewhere else.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So okay, I covered the radio. Okay, good. And one other thing that I always carry with me is an 8 foot piece of clear plastic tube. So if I have to siphon gas from abandoned vehicles, I can do that. And
Oh, like
we're planning
a
for the end.
tube. I'm trying to visualize that. Is it like plastic? Like how do
Like
you
vinyl. It's like vinyl tube.
vinyl? Okay.
It's about the opening in the tube is about the thickness of a pencil.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it's very light and clear, so that you can see when you're sucking on the end and you're trying to get the gas to come up. You can see the gas coming, so
Yeah. Yeah.
you don't get a mouthful of gasoline, which is also an unpleasant thing.
Right. Yeah. That's it. But you got your toothpaste. You'll have your toothpaste
But
all ready to wash that out, right?
exactly, you're way ahead of me, Eric.
For one problem. Yeah, you got to think of everything, folks. The only thing I would add here as we're concluding, we'll do some shameless self promotion time here, Steven, is just to make sure that you're really layered up. Like I have a really bad habit, like even in the wintertime, of like just getting and going like pretty quickly. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? You don't really think about it. So like make sure you layer up, get the long johns on, get some extra, layers on. I mean, it can't hurt to have extra layers. You could always pull layers off, like if you're getting too hot. But
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
the more the better. Yeah, layer up.
Yeah, the secret to staying warm in the north is layering, because you can adjust the amount of heat by either adding more layers or peeling them off. Now, when I go
Right.
bicycling in 14-degree weather, I have 5 layers. Right?
Mm.
I got a t-shirt, I got a long sleeve shirt, I've got a vest, and then I've got some. Did I say 4 layers? Yeah, 4 layers. And then I got my winter coat.
Coat.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But if it gets
Yeah.
too hot, well, I can peel off some of those layers. Of course, everybody knows you do not want to sweat.
No, yeah, get the flu or something.
Yeah. Well, if you sweat, because especially when all right, you're trying to push your car
Hypothermia.
out of the ditch. Yeah, you're going to be sweating. Now you soak your
Hmm.
clothes and it's wet, and then you get back, and you will freeze really quickly.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You were mentioning this last night. I was up late last night, and I have there's a series I like to watch. I like to watch those true crime documentaries. This one guy, Lieutenant Kenda, I think it's called Homicide Hunter. He probably is like the most famous show that's out there. Really interesting guy. But on the episode that I saw last night, it really didn't have to do with a murder per se, but it was two girls, two ladies, a daughter and a wife, which lied to the husband about where they were going. They said they were going to I don't know, like the library or something, and they end up going like 60 miles away to a casino like out in Colorado Springs or something.
Huh.
And they were doing a little bit of drinking. This was in a cold of winter and like at some like 9,000 altitude, and they unfortunately mixed, I think it was Zoloft, they said, when it was experimental back in the day, that antidepressant. And so they mixed alcohol in that, and they got disorientated, and they had to pull off to the side of the road for a second, to kind of just like, let the dog out. There was a dog in the car or whatnot. And they got out for a
Oh,
second. They accidentally locked themselves out of the door, and they died like in the cold type of thing. So, um, yeah, I mean, like not. I mean, if they had some of this stuff, I guess, like if they layered up enough, maybe they could have, gotten through it. But I don't know. It just kind of brought that to mind. Like you just don't know. You know what I mean? You're going out and like, hey, we're gonna have some fun, and half
yeah,
hour later, you're frozen to death.
yeah.
So
No, that's why you want to keep all this stuff in your car for a number of reasons. One is the bad weather that we're going through, but also because at any moment. Oh, speaking of diversities flying off the roads, last week I was doing a podcast with a community in Norway, and suddenly the power went out here. And that always makes me anxious because I don't know if the power is coming back on. Right? Like, you don't know, right? We could be sitting here, Eric, and then the power goes off, and it never comes back on, and I never hear from you.
right,
Right? How do you
right,
know?
exactly. Yep,
And something like that is going to happen any day now. So yeah, the
for
power went
sure.
off, and immediately you
A lot of
start.
blackouts here. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of blackouts, and then you immediately start thinking about your preps. Did I get enough?
Yep.
Do I have do I have enough batteries for the flashlights? Do I have enough kerosene for the lamps? Uh, that went through my mind immediately. Geez, I
Yeah.
should
Yeah.
get more. I should get more. Thank goodness the power came on about an hour and a half later, and gets what the cause was.
What's that? Climate change? War with Russia?
No, some diversity ran into a telephone pole and
Oh, there you go.
took down the
Probably doesn't
transformer.
have a license. Yeah. No license, nothing.
Yeah, they don't know
Get
how to
free
drive
money.
in this weather. That's why I said, you got to be careful out there. These people don't know what they're doing, and yeah, you got to keep your eyes wide open and leave lots of space between you and the other cars because you don't know who's driving it. And so once
Defensive
again,
driving.
yeah, the diversity is our strength.
Yeah, that's it. All right, buddy. Let's wrap it up with some shameless self promotion time. What you got working this month?
Well, the same thing, but what I'd like to say is that everything I told you today, comes from my book, The Art of Urban Survival. It's all in there. All the list of items you should carry with you.
Okay.
And that book is included as part of a package of over 330 books that you can download
Wow.
right away in my survival library. I tell people download it onto a flash drive. I send you the video on the portable survival library, how you can, take all these books, 340 something books, put them on a flash drive, and then you can access them using an iPad or a tablet or a Kindle Read or something like that, something that
Hmm.
doesn't take up a lot of electricity, a lot of power, and that you can easily recharge using either a solar panel or even one of those bicycle generators. Uh,
Hey, I had a question for you. Now it's running through my brain. Do you think it'd be worth investing into an electrical bike? Because my thought process for this year is, like you said, blackouts coming, probably pandemic. Once they go with the next pandemic and we're all shut down in our areas, like I don't see too much use for a car. Like maybe I guess if you
yeah,
could drive 15 minutes somewhere, but and I'm like, okay, maybe I could just take the truck that I have, sell it, and then just get an electrical bike and then just charge it with the solar panels. Now they range anywhere between like I don't know, like the worst ones are probably like 500, but like some of the nicer ones I guess are like 1500. Just want to get your
oh
thoughts because
yeah.
I got a guest coming on tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow or no next month. Mountain Man, who's out like in the boonies of Pennsylvania, and he says he's had one now for a while and he thinks they're worth it. You think those are electric bikes aren't too bad?
Well, Eric, you know me. I'm an old timer.
Old school, yeah. I have the old school mountain bikes too as well, but
Yeah,
um,
I don't trust those things. Look at they're bursting into flames all over the place.
right.
Depends.
That's it.
If
Beautiful.
your electric bike comes from China, no. I wouldn't trust it. How many videos have I seen in the last 6 months of these things spontaneously bursting into flames? Guys, they got their electric bike, stored in the garage. Suddenly their garage is on fire. And you can't put those
Mm.
fires out. Those lithium-ion batteries are a hazard. They're they're they're,
Oh yeah,
they're
yeah.
dangerous. And then also to charging them from a solar panel, not no winter time. Let me tell you that.
Oh yeah, no, you wouldn't be able to do that in the winter for sure. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, and I don't know how long it would take to charge. I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm looking for the motorcycle I had when I lived in Taiwan, 125cc Kawasaki Cruiser, because those things run on fumes. Okay, you get 80 miles to the gallon,
Oh
and
wow,
oh
that's
yeah,
crazy.
and they're so I'd
And
rather
they
have
run
it.
off that's gas.
Yeah,
Okay, interesting.
gas and oil. They're two strokes, but I drove my little Kawasaki in Taiwan. I drove it on the highway. I drove it on the roads. I drove it on the sidewalks. I drove it on the pedestrian overpasses. I drove
That's
it
it.
off road along walking trails in the mountains, and on occasion I drove it into the tavern.
Right, that's it.
The thing is, it's very small, it's very light, it's very nimble, it's low key, it runs on fumes, and it's
Hmm.
for me. I'd rather trust an internal combustion engine than some exploding battery from China.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I'll have to look in that too as well. But anyways, yeah, let's conclude. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but that just
No,
popped
no,
into
no
my brain.
problem. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. So yeah, the
Yeah.
survival library. Go to my website, chinastrategies.com. One word, chinastrategies.com. You'll see the survival library right on the front page. It's only $50. Well, $49.95. Act now, and we'll throw in
No,
a
a lot
free.
of material.
No, we
That's
won't
it.
throw anything free. That's it. It's already as cheap as it can possibly be.
Right.
And everything that we've talked about today is in my book, which is included in that library.
Good. Good stuff. All right, Stefan, thank you so much for joining us. And again, it's a very timely talk because we still probably have at least 3 more months of winter, and who knows? A lot of my Earth Changes experts saying this is going to be a harsher, longer winter, so maybe even longer. So make sure you take all the advice today and put it into practice. And listen, we got Dr. Paul Byrne returning to the show after about a half a year, maybe even a year layoff. Until next time, stay safe and God bless.